Are you mispronouncing these common English words? Don't worry, most people do. Let's break it down rule by rule. Some of these rules even confuse the native speakers. If you notice, cough, enough, though, too, thorough have the same OUGH endings, but they all sound different. Take a minute. Try it. What if I told you mastering English pronunciation isn't as hard as it seems to be? It all comes down to just 4 key principles. And today what we're going to do is learn those 4 rules with the help of these pronunciations right here on the screen. Now, one thing I want you to understand before we begin the video, which is your accent is natural. There is absolutely no need to change your accent. We are only going to work on the pronunciation part. Pronunciations are global and they should be learned. However, changing of accent, there is no pressure. Sometimes people ask me, ma'am, why do you have such a solid Indian accent? Because I am Indian. I've lived all my life in India. So, of course, I'm going to have that accent. And there's no problem with the accent. Accent just shows where you come from, okay? You should be proud of it. You should always be proud of your accent. However, mispronouncing words is not good because that way the clarity of your communication is lost. Okay, when you go out and you talk with people and you mispronounce basic words, what happens is that a lot of your message is lost. So there is no fight, there is no battle, nothing. We're just trying to learn what there is to improve at what we want to learn, which is English language words. So we are here for a common purpose. Let's start with rule number 1. Syllable stress. Tell me, how do you pronounce this word? Women, not women. No, women. Okay, another one. This word. Vegetable? No. Vegetable. Vegetable. Next is this word. Comfortable? No, not comfortable. And this is not about accent. It's comfortable. 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 Next is this. How do you pronounce this word? Determine? No, incorrect. Determine. Determine. Okay, this word. Photography? Photography? No. Photography. Photography. Next word. This. Epitome? Incorrect. Epitome. Epitome. Okay, very common word. How do you pronounce this? Police, 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 police. Last one. This word. Hotel, hotel, hotel. And same goes for Nobel, not Nobel Prize, Nobel Prize. This brings me to my rule number 1, which is syllable stress. Now, this one is crucial because stressing the wrong part of a word can totally change its sound, sometimes making it hard to understand. It's all about which part of the word you emphasize. So instead of saying hotel, now here you're laying the stress on ho instead of tel, the second half of the word. Hotel. Think of it like a bouncing ball, okay? It lands the hardest on the stressed syllable of the word. Okay, now break it down one by one. Stress on the first syllable. Women. The women are waiting outside. Women. Now the rule is O changes to a short I sound and the stress is on the first syllable. She eats 1 green vegetable every day. Vegetable. So it has about 2 to 3 syllables and not 4. Okay. Vegetable, not vegetable. No. Vegetable. Okay, 3 syllables. English often drops extra vowels for smoother speech. Those dropped, unstressed vowels don't completely disappear. They get reduced to a barely there sound. In phonetics, we call it schwa, the schwa. I have a whole different video on this concept. That video is just about to come up. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel and press the bell icon, please do it now. Now is the time you do it because I don't want you to miss that video. It's one of the best ones, really. Schwa is the sound. It's the most common sound in English and it's what makes native speakers sound so smooth and natural. So in vegetable, veg, t. So after t, there is this t. So that is schwa, okay? Vegetable. And again, between B and L, there is again a schwa. B. okay? Vegetable. So there are two schwa. Instead of saying every vowel with equal effort, we use the schwa as a placeholder in unstressed syllables. It's the sound, I repeat myself, that you hear at the end of the words like sofa, sofa. You don't say sofa. We're not that clear when we speak, right? Sofa. Sit on the sofa. So, that you hear, that schwa. It's represented by the symbol inverted E. When we pronounce the word vegetable, the vowels in the second and the third syllables are reduced to the sound, which is a very weak sound. This is why we say it as vegetable. Subscribe to this channel to learn cool new things about English every week. A whole different video on schwa coming up soon. Next word is this. Now hint, stress is on the second syllable. You must determine the winner carefully. Determine. Okay. Next, this one. She is the epitome of kindness. Epitome. Some words keep their Greek and Latin roots. Here the stress falls on the second syllable, which is pit. Epitome. Epitome. Okay. The second syllable is the important syllable, the stress syllable. Next is this. The police arrived on time. Police. The stress is on the last syllable, which is lease. Police. Next is this word. We stayed at a 5-star hotel in Paris. Stress is on the second syllable again and not on the first one. Our second major insight, rule number 2, is the silent letter rule. Okay, tell me, how do you pronounce these words? Receipt, receipt, and not receipt. No p. Receipt. Debt, debt, not deb. No b. Debt. Almonds, not almonds. No. Almonds, almonds. Wednesday, Wednesday, and not Wednesday. Wednesday. We are shortening the number of syllables here, if you notice. Handsome, not handsome. No duh. Handsome. Sandwich, not sandwich. Sandwich. No duh. English isn't phonetic, which means letters often appear in words that aren't pronounced. These silent letters are historical leftovers. Yeah, what to do? Mainly from French and Latin, and learning them is key to accurate pronunciation. Please keep the receipt for your purchase. Here, P is silent. English borrowed this from French, and the P stayed in spelling but disappeared in sound. Now you'll have to learn which letters to drop, okay? He paid off all his debt last year. The silent B is added in spelling to show Latin roots, which is debitum, but we never pronounce it. She sprinkled almonds on her dessert. Almond. Silent L shows up in many words like almond, calm, balm. Okay. Our meeting is on Wednesday. Wednesday. Over time, the middle consonants got swallowed up in fast speech, and that is why we lost D, the sound of D. Wednesday. It's not Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. He's a very handsome actor. Consonant clusters simplify in spoken English. The D is dropped here. This is a consonant cluster, if you notice. NDS. NDS. So we made it short. This is a characteristic of consonant clusters, okay? They are simplified and sometimes a letter is dropped. Here, D is dropped. Same goes for, I packed a cheese sandwich for lunch. Let's tackle rule number 3, which is vowel vandalism. English vowel sounds are tricky and they don't always match their letter. We know that. They can even change depending on regional accents. What sounds like one thing in the US might be totally different in the UK. How do you pronounce these words? Data, data. Now pay attention, be careful. Both these pronunciations are accurate. Both are correct, but data is more common in American English and data is heard in British or Indian English. Same spelling, but vowels shift across regions. The milk turned sour. Sour. This rhymes with power. The vowel cluster OU often shifts here. It makes an ow sound. Ow, sour. He had a bad cough all night. Cough, cough. The OUGH cluster has multiple pronunciations, and here it is the off sound. And finally, rounding out our list, rule number 4, which is foreign sounds and consonant clusters. How do you pronounce these words? Pizza, pizza, pizza. Espresso, Espresso, espresso. It doesn't even have an X. Asthma, not asthma, asthma. Even for Indian English, asthma. Debris, debris, and not debris, debris. English handles borrowed words from Italian, French languages, okay? English is a language that loves to borrow words, especially, like I mentioned, Italian and French words. But when it does, it often handles their unique sounds and tricky consonant clusters in its own way. Sometimes it simplifies them, the other times it maintains the original pronunciation structure. Okay, so that's how it works. You borrow the words, you also borrow the sound. We ordered a large pepperoni pizza. Pizza. Double Z in Italian is pronounced as t sound. Okay, it has a little t sound, not z. Pizza. He needs an espresso shot every morning. Espresso. No X sound at all. The S stays intact and the stress falls on the second syllable, which is press. Espresso, espresso. She carries an inhaler for asthma. Asthma. The th is silent in this case. Okay? Silent. English simplifies clusters by dropping hard to say sounds. So as you can see, th is slightly hard in this word, and that is why they've dropped the sound completely. Now imagine somebody walking up to an American and complaining about their asthma attack and calling it as asthma. Hey, I'm getting my asthma attack. This guy will not even be able to understand. So that is why global pronunciations are important to be learned, so that people understand you, you're more clear with the way you speak. The street was full of storm debris. Now, since this is borrowed from French, the final consonant, which is letter S in this case, often goes silent. Examples are ballet, buffet, crochet, all have the T's that are silent. Okay, rendezvous, again, S, letter S is silent here. Faux pas, so faux, X is silent. Final consonant often goes silent with the words that are borrowed from French. Remember that. Now that we've seen how inconsistent single vowels can be, let's look at the biggest trick of all. When the same letter combination produces different sounds. This is called the chaos of vowels. Now, this is a known phenomenon, and if you haven't learned about it before, now is the time you perfect yourself at it. Okay, I've got some really good examples for you. The chaos of vowels, like I'll be using beard, heard, here, there, for example. More frustration of English learners is inconsistent spelling and multiple sounds for the same letter combinations. This is often called the chaos of English vowels, as is well depicted in this letter combination of O-U-G-H I gave you in the beginning of the video, which is rough is different from though. The same letters O-U-G-H, but they sound so different. In rough, it has the sound of uff, but in though, it has the sound of O. Right? It is frustrating, and that is why this is called the chaos of English vowels. This chaos exists because English spelling is historical. It's not logical. Sorry. Unlike phonetic languages, you can't always guess the sound from the spelling, which is the case with Hindi. You can always guess the sound of the word by just looking at the spelling, but that's not the case with English. You simply have to memorize English. Next is heard. Heard, again E-A-R, but here the pronunciation changes. It becomes heard, H-U-R-D sound. The sound is of U-H-R. It rhymes with bird or turd. Next is bear. Now here E-A-R takes the sound of air, something like air, bear. It rhymes with pear or hair. Next is earn. Now here E-A-R becomes earn, the same sound as heard. Okay, let's take one more example. The sound of E-R-E is of E-E. But when you place it in there, it becomes there. It rhymes with air. Okay, air, there, air. And again, same letter combination but different sound. It rhymes with bear. A big brown bear is sleeping over there. Next is where. Where, again, the E-R-E here rhymes with air. Next is were. Now it takes up the sound of So that was it for this video. I hope you learned something new today. Subscribe to this channel to learn more cool new things about English every week. These rules are just the beginning. If you found this helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming deep dive into the schwa sound and so much more. I also happen to have an English course just in case you're curious to learn more. Do check it out. I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.